Okay, well, I want to welcome everyone to the Tuesday, May 24th edition of Omaha, Carlentini, and beyond. You know, how many of you are Toy Story fans? Toy Story, the movie? You know, remember the astronaut Buzz Lightyear? He says, "To infinity and beyond."
This is true.
We're getting there.
Well, we adopted that in our family, and so when somebody says "I love you," we respond with "I love you to infinity and beyond."
Oh, that's cool.
I like that.
Hey, Sherry, great job starting the new page. I love it.
You know, that was not even me. That was just a weird, I guess, circumstances that happen. I don't even know what happened yesterday, but somehow Melissa Roth is the one that started it. She had had enough and she moved on. But I had a back and forth with Tony about the Corretto and the donkeys, and he just wasn't getting it. So I was like,
I think we all
I read that too, and he doesn't get it. He has no, and he doesn't want to get it. That's the problem.
that's a shame, because he wanted to be part of our, committee to greet Eleonora and the delegates here in Omaha. And I was open to having him do that. He was part of, when Retronato was viewed at Exarban here in Omaha last year, he was there for it. He's been totally supportive. But some of the things that he says on social media are just rude.
Yeah, I agree. No one's here to get into debates about stuff. Just try to enjoy each other, learn a little bit.
Who
Good
is
for
this
you
new
guys.
guy that he's got as an admin?
It's him.
It is interesting because when you talk with him one-on-one, it's not like that. That's what's so interesting. So Nick,
Good
Samino,
evening, everybody.
I think Ron Hug is probably joining us right now. That's why my name came up twice.
Well, hello, Ron Hug, wherever you are. Oh, okay. I see connecting to audio. So I'm going to send him a request to start video.
Hi, Silvana.
And
Hi.
I'm going to rename him to Ron Hug so we don't get confused. Okay, so that's Ron Hug. Can you hear us, Ron?
Maybe I can.
Oh, good. Well, welcome.
I'm going to
aboard.
mute you though, because I'm driving.
Okay, well, that's fine. So I have sort of a tentative agenda. I wanted to talk about the Santa Lucia Festival from Thursday, July 21st through Sunday, July 24th. I just got off the phone with Todd and he gave me a tentative schedule.
What?
Yeah, how about that? And then as part of that, last year we had a Zoom group meeting, event, luncheon / whatever else you want to call it. Mary Kay and her dad hosted us last year on the Friday of the festival. And last week, Sherry mentioned something about a picnic. I want to talk about the black hole. I emailed everybody about the black hole, that there's some light in the black hole with the revelation of the indexes, but we always want to go beyond. So Eleonora, we need
You
to
mean
talk.
the 1893 till the 1899?
Right. And
But
then
we
I
have the
also wanted to
titles.
talk. I also wanted to talk about relatives for August travelers. I've been working with Patricia a bit on filling in her tree, which thankfully we already have her tree amongst ours. So that should be pretty easy. I got a call from David Randall. So any other agenda items? I know, Eleanor, you need to study, but did you want to have agenda time to discuss anything in particular as far as
Well, I will be,
culture?
I'm sorry, everybody officially from me. I have the exam of sommelier the day after tomorrow morning. So I have just tonight for, and I'm preparing the United States actually as a topic. So I will follow, but I have to do two things simultaneously. Otherwise, I should cut completely the meeting, and I don't want to lose it completely. But I don't have enough time, so I have to study in the meanwhile, trying to keep as much as I can in my head while I follow you as well. But women were famous to be able to do two things simultaneously. So I learned that it's not a good thing to do. It's better to do one thing and then you finish it, and then another thing one by one. Very well done, and then we keep going. But that's it. It is what it is. So I will follow, and I say hi to everybody officially, to the big family and the new ones.
Well, thank you, Eleonora. And I see Sherry's
I'm here.
posted some things.
I'm here.
Yeah, but I might
posted
have to
some
step
things in
out for a
there.
second. I just heard the baby. He's supposed to be sleeping. So go ahead and talk about your items, Nick, and I'll be back in a minute.
Okay. Anybody else want to post agenda items?
Great topics, though.
Yes. Okay, so let's let me go ahead. I'm going to put the tentative agenda that Todd gave me into the chat log, just so that everybody can look at it. And so, okay, it starts on Thursday. And the first actual event, which is not really part of the festival that I'm aware of at least, is Thursday afternoon at a time to be announced. The mayors will meet at City Hall. But my understanding, Eleanor, is you guys actually come in, what day do you actually arrive?
We leave July 16th, I think, and we will be there the 17th.
Okay, so you arrive
Sherry has the schedule.
You
Or
arrive on
no, we
July
arrive the 16th, I'm sorry. And then the 17th, we start activities.
Okay, so you arrive in Omaha July 16th.
Yeah, the idea at the beginning is we prepared a program with Sherry. In this moment, I don't have it here with me, but our idea was to make even a show cooking with Sicilian products so that we will send from here. So making the kudruni. So this will be the first days, and then obviously the visit to Little Italy, and then meetings with the mayor. As soon as Sherry will be here, she can share what we have discussed weeks ago now.
Okay, well, the festival actually kicks off at 5 p.m. on Thursday, July 21st. The festival grounds will open, and at 6 p.m. they're going to have a officers reception, and then at 7 p.m. is the actual opening ceremony. And according to what Todd said, the mayors are going to speak, and then it would be followed by musical entertainment. I mean, it's all there. You guys can read it. I don't know if I want to go through point by point on the agenda for the festival, but since the festival doesn't really kick off until the evening time on both Thursday and Friday, I'm not sure when we're going to get in on Thursday. So I was just trying to figure out if we have any ideas, if we want to try to do something Friday like we did last year, or not. So I'll open the table for discussion.
I'd love to find a moment. I called it a breakfast or barbecue, a moment when we can gather all together, because I think that during the festival we will go up and down, somebody will show up and then you go away. So it's not exactly a moment when we can really spend time all together, even if we will be very close by.
Mhm. Yeah, I think Friday morning or afternoon is probably a good time for us to get together. What do other people think?
Sounds good.
I'm out of town until like noon on Friday.
Noon on Friday?
Yes.
Hmm.
Okay.
Let me see a show of hands of the out-of-towners. Well, first of all, Omaha people. Does anybody is not able to attend the festival or events surrounding the arrival of Eleonora and the Carlentini delegation?
Can we say Omahans?
Omahans. Omahans.
How do you say?
Still have to work my job on
Miami.
Friday.
And
Oh,
then
yes.
for out-of-towners, how many out-of-towners are planning to come in besides myself? Kim and Fred, I think, said he was coming. I don't know. I don't see him right at the moment. But so it's me and Kim. Do you go by Kim or Kimberly?
I go by
Kim.
Kim.
Kim? Okay. And okay, so so we should have a pretty good sized group, potentially. Anybody have to work on Friday?
I'd have to take vacation if
I do.
but I was thinking about taking vacation anyway.
Mhm. What about you, Chris? Were you thinking about taking the day off or?
No,
Okay.
I can't afford to with the trip to Italy,
Mhm.
because when I get back, I'm gonna remodel my kitchen and I need more time for that too.
So,
Okay, so-
right now, I've got to say, I have a meeting with the mayor on June 10th. So anything that you have about the mayor there is tentative.
Right.
And the
Well,
mayor's.
that's what it
meeting-
says at the very top, Sherry, is tentative schedule.
Okay, and that's all. Okay.
But I was just wondering if we wanted to try to plan something for Friday afternoon, and Mary Kay just said that she won't be available until
Like noon. I think I get in about 10:30 or 11.
okay.
I could probably take off a little bit early, but I can't
Mhm.
take the whole day off.
For us latecomers, what day, what is that, this coming Friday?
No. This is Friday, July 22nd during the
Oh, great.
festival.
Okay,
Sherry,
I have this on a canvas, so I'm gonna send it to you. So you have this, Nick,
Okay.
the schedule.
This is the schedule for the Carlentini group.
Yep. No, yes, it is.
Is it the one that we made?
It
Me and
is,
you?
Eleanor.
I
Yeah.
think it's our schedule.
Sherry,
Yes.
I wanted to
That
ask,
is
I'm sorry.
Viking.
You wanted to gather at Beaver Lake, didn't you, for a barbecue?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
So, but I got to fill it in based on what he's got now. So let me
Yeah,
throw
because
out there
it's
what.
kind of hard to go from Beaver Lake in the afternoon, don't you think, to?
I'm not. I just came in the room, honestly. So let me.
Okay, honey.
Let me kind of get my wits about myself and see what you guys have written. I just sent Nick the schedule that Eleanor and I put together. So
Yeah, I won't even actually get into town until Thursday, so I won't be able to be a part of anything before that. I mean, if you guys need to do something, Todd seemed to think that your picnic was going to happen Monday sometime between Monday and Wednesday.
What picnic? I'm confused. Did he say that we have a picnic?
Well, isn't that what you had mentioned last time, something at Beaver Lake?
Oh, I think you mean the barbecue. Yeah, Eleonora requested an American style barbecue.
Something that can make you happy. I usually am vegetarian, but
She's gonna
I can-
abstain from being a vegetarian.
I will
for-
share anything. It will be typical. So I will be just Eleonora for that week. No labels.
Well, and I think Kim raises a good point. If we do that, if you did that event on Friday, it would be hard to make it to the festival grounds by 5 p.m. So,
Now I can offer, my daughter has a townhome down closer to downtown, like 36 and Harney and Blackstone, and we could meet there. She's quite the hostess. And she could set up everything. So that would be available.
Mary Kay, can you repeat that?
My daughter, we have a townhome on 36 in Harney or Dewey, right
Okay.
by the by Blackstone, in Blackstone
Okay.
neighborhood.
That's right where Eleanor is staying.
Oh. Yeah. So
Am
if we
I?
wanted to
I have
meet
no
there,
idea.
I would.
Guys, I
do
trust
that.
you 100%. I just won't have the chance to see you all. So you find the brightest solutions. Because I want to
Eleonora,
meet
we're
you
gonna make
all.
sure there's somewhere for you to go at different periods throughout the weeks, the week. Salvo has already told me he's scared. And I said, we got it all under control. He said, that's what I'm afraid of. So you guys will be.
Well, they can have a free time sometimes if they don't want to be part
Yeah.
of everything. I mean, it will be nice for the mayor and his wife to have some moment for themselves, maybe.
Right, and there will be plenty.
I
of-
haven't to talk with
yeah.
them yet. So usually we will go last second as always. So we will talk about that the day before leaving. As
Well, based on what you and I have so far, that's what I'm going off of, are the times and the things that we've already scheduled. And then they'll need to be refined by OSCA. Omaha Sister City Association has the final say in some of what we do, apparently. So once that's all put together, but Mary Kay, you're 36 and Dewey, and you're saying that Friday you might have something available or be able to have.
If we wanted to get together, we could get together in the afternoon down there, or from, probably, I can't remember what time. I think I get in about 10:30, 11.
Okay.
But my daughter can handle all the prep. She's my right arm.
How long do you think? Because that's a day that there might be. That was Friday. That would be a good day.
Yeah, whatever works for the group.
Okay. 10:30 to, what do you think, up until the time of the festival?
Not, I would say more, it had to be at least noon. I think I'm coming in from Florida. It's a 6 o'clock flight, and then it's direct. And then I can just go right over to the condo. But if we wanted to plan
so
a
like a brunch.
yes,
Mhm.
Like 10:30 until 1 o'clock or something, are you thinking?
let me check my schedule. Let me see what time I'm gonna get there. Hold on.
I'm
And
very
that
fascinated about how
location-
you're organized.
is that location?
When in Sicily,
fairly-
you gather for
It's
a coffee.
accessible, yes. It's maybe 10 minutes, it's maybe 7 minutes from the festival
Oh, okay,
location.
good.
Yeah,
36 in Dodge, basically. Dick.
yep.
I was just mentioning, when in Sicily we gather for a coffee or a lunch or wherever, we know exactly, or better, more or less when it will start, but never when it will end. As when Nika came in Silvana's house, so we were like, okay, see you around lunchtime. So I show up at 1:30. They were there a little bit earlier. We started eating at 2:30, and we were still there at 6 p.m. So exactly at 5, because I remember we had a meeting that day with Sherry at my 5 p.m. and then they left after half an hour, so 5:30.
I guess I'm back at 8 a.m. So we can do whenever works for you guys.
How does 11 to 1 sound, just kind of tentatively, so it can kind of be a time frame? This way, when I have everything together, I can send it to you, Nick, if you want to send it to all the people on Zoom. And I'll talk with my dad, but the lake's pretty big. They have 2 boats, and I'm sure we'll be able to accommodate whoever wants to come with all the
Okay,
different
so
groups.
what day are you talking about for the lake?
The lake is Wednesday, July 20th at this point.
Okay. Unfortunately, I won't be there until Thursday, so.
Then definitely the Friday get together will help. And then we'll do something Thursday as well, unless that Beaver Lake gets switched to Thursday. And I can try to do that if you want me to, Nick, if that helps.
We might be able to get there on Thursday. Our plan is to drive on Wednesday and get as far as we possibly can. You know, our goal is to get into maybe Missouri.
Okay.
And, we'd have like a 4-hour drive that morning.
And
Thursday.
did Todd mention anything about having something set up for you at the festival?
He did. Last week we talked about it briefly, but he said that it needs to go to the Parish Council on Thursday. He assumes everything will be okay. There'll probably be some kind of a schedule of when the room will be opened. He says they're pretty territorial, but Father seemed good. So
Would he encourage, or would he be open to having Nick Jabalisco there as well for dual citizenship questions? And Nick, are you even available? If not, I can be.
Yeah, what day we looking at that?
I'm not quite sure. When I look at the festival schedule, I don't really see the point in doing it on Thursday or Friday, maybe Saturday and possibly Sunday. I don't know about Sunday either, because Sunday you've got the mass and the parade, and there's entertainment from 1 to 6. I mean, I guess we could possibly do it during that 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. period on Sunday.
Not Sunday.
Excuse me?
I don't know about Sunday. Sunday's going to be a busy day, isn't it, Chris? Is that pretty busy? We can't hear you,
Chris.
Sorry about that. Yeah, usually is pretty busy, but maybe the 1 to 6 when we have the entertainment.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I was thinking. We wouldn't have to do that full period. We could maybe do 2 to 4 or 2 to 5, something like that.
Otherwise Saturday's pretty open with just the entertainment and the bocce ball till 7. And even then, it's just a local band.
Nick, would you be open to 2 dates if Todd allows it?
I wouldn't want anybody to have to commit for 2 days. I mean,
okay.
Why don't we just think about Saturday and leave it at that? Then we can all just enjoy the entertainment on Sunday and relax.
And Nick, this would just be me and you setting up shop and fielding questions and whatnot.
Basically, what I asked Todd for was a room where I could set up my computer and consult with anybody who had genealogy questions. And if you wanted to be there too for part of it, I mean, like I was saying, I don't think we would want to go much more than, I don't know, we could start at 1 o'clock on Saturday and go to 4 o'clock, maybe like a 3-hour time slot. And,
yeah, I definitely could. I'd support that for sure.
Okay. So 1 to 4 on Saturday, and then I'd like as many of you to come and hang out with us around the conference table, and just, you know, if you want to just come in and out, if you need to go do things. But it's just going to be an open flow. He also mentioned maybe having the Carlentini folks, having some refreshments for them in there, or, you know, be a place where they could relax. So in the air conditioning.
Is there
We'll
gonna
have,
be, like a sign to get people, because you're talking about the social hall at Cabrini, correct?
Right, right.
How are you gonna direct people down there?
I can bring a sign.
I heard it was a conference room.
Yeah,
It's just a big room. Like kind of a big
So it's bigger than like just a conference table?
yes. Like we
Okay.
had my daughters, when we baptized at Cabrini, we just went down and had the party there afterwards. It probably holds 50 people.
Hmm.
Mary
I
Kay, I
have
think-
a little question while you're talking. I was wondering, do we have a table or a corner about the Sicula and the Carlentini Omaha Association during the festival?
Todd said that he would have a booth for us. I've not been told yet if it's for sure. Chris, do you know something about that? Have you? No? Okay.
Well, I haven't heard anything.
Do you think we should take advantage of
great
this
if we
moment to talk about the t-shirts and maybe find a way to find them there or buy them while
If
we
we do
are
'em-
there? So
If we do them here, I can get them for you and we can just get it done with here and then it's
So
done.
so we can wear them when we will be in Sicily as well.
Okay, I can do that. Yeah, we got
You
it
know
covered
what?
then.
The Italian Heritage sold a yellow T-shirt with the flag insignia on it at their festa. And I'd have to check with Dr. Perry to see if we have some more of those left over. But yeah, we did have those at our festa in September, or last September.
Yeah, I need to talk with Sandy Trutman as well about
Okay.
that because
You're
she's
talking
the one
about
who wants-
the Carlentini Omaha
Right.
logo, right?
So
yeah, with the logo and Sicula Italia Foundation as well.
Santa
Mhm.
Lucia will not let us sell those items there as far as I know. So we would have to order them ahead of time and then I could distribute them. Like you could pick them up for me at a point.
That
Okay,
sounds
no
good.
worries.
I would
I'll
definitely.
get something
order
going
one.
with that. I've already talked to one person and then Chris and I were gonna talk a little bit more about another place.
I haven't called
Okay.
him yet.
Okay,
I-
well, I think this is enough for 1 week in terms of the discussion. It at least gets us thinking about what we might possibly do. And I can bring it up again next week. So can we talk about the black hole for just a minute, Eleonora?
Mm-hmm.
So the reaction I got from people was very encouraging, first of all. I mean, got a really nice response to the blog post that I did with the images from the index from 1893 to 99.
Pippo Filetti, you mean?
No, this was these were the documents that Alessio got.
Sì,
Gatto?
sì, that Alessio sent to you.
Yeah, and so I figured, well, I'd go ahead and publish them just so everybody knows that we have them. But I mean, there's a problem with them, and that is that some of them just have names. They don't have the names of the parents, and they don't have dates, and they don't have ages. So when you look at just the indexes, you really can't tell a whole heck of a lot unless you can actually look at the birth record itself.
So there are still holes in the hole.
Yeah, there's still holes. I mean, we shined a flashlight down in the hole, but we need really to bring it up into the sunshine. And
What a bad period at that time. I mean, it used to be like the unlucky,
yeah, so
the unlucky
I mean,
decade. I don't know.
my goal is to get all of the death records from those years digitized and uploaded to the Portale Antenati.
You mean for this month or for this year?
Well,
Knowing you this week.
I can only suggest and plead and beg and hope.
So what should be done? Like go to open the registers and see exactly those informations?
Well, yeah, Alessio needs to really address the question. Is it possible to digitize all the books from those years for the death?
Does he have the equipment to do that?
I think so, because now he's taking advantage of the students of the university being there, like for as tutor. Is a tutor. They have to learn how do you say it? Apprendistato, apprendista. So when you learn, you need to learn a job. How do you say in English?
Apprenticeship?
Yeah.
Apprenticeship.
Yep. That's
So
what we call
yes,
it.
he's letting them scanning them. That's how we obtain already those images. I think they're not
So-
taken with the telephone.
I guess what my request would be is, you had indicated that the best way to make things happen is to get together and have a cup of coffee.
Santa Eleonora.
Can you have a cup of coffee with Alessio at some point? And
Yeah, I
and-
will be Carlentini. My next day off, that will be June 8th. So I had already thought about that, because I want to visit the Ufficio Storico, Archivio Storico. I would like to go to the library in Lentini as well. It has been a while now that I haven't been there. And yeah, I will definitely talk with him in person.
Okay,
So just the records of death of 1893, 1899.
right.
Yeah.
The goal would be to get them published.
Ciao,
before
ragazzi.
Charlie on tonight.
Ciao, Silvana.
Ciao Silvana. Ben arrivata.
Ciao, Silvana. Okay, so since we have Kim with us today and Gary, and several of you are descendants of the Salernos, and since I have a request from a member of Sherry's group, David Randall, about trying to find relatives of the Salernos in Carlentini.
Or the Piricellos.
Or the Piricellos. Okay.
We have a Piricello on right now.
Yes. And I had noticed on the black hole, there was a Nunziata Piricello, but my nonna Nunziata, my nonna Piricello was a Brici.
Mhm.
Brici?
Brecci.
Brici. Okay.
Brava, Kim.
So I'm wondering, everybody uses so many of the same names that I wonder if that could have been someone related to my papa Nino Piricello's maybe father.
Yeah.
He
Well,
died.
this,
He died.
so Kim, that is the crux of the problem, because all we really have is a flashlight and we can't really see who's down there in the black hole. Because all we have is what you see. I don't have access to the records that are associated with those indexes. So I can't really answer anyone's question. And I've gotten several, is that my relative? And I can't answer the question because I don't know what the index is referring to.
So do you want to know if there are Piricellos now? I mean, in Carlentini, maybe Silvana knows some of them. It's a very common name. Silvana,
So
Kim,
what-
lei è discendente dei Salerno, è molto
Okay,
probabilmente
before we get off on that, Eleonora, before we get off on that,
Stasera
can I
non
just-
c'è.
Aspetta.
Un momento, per favore.
Grazie.
So I had talked to Jim about trying to get a list of descendants that he has for the Salernos in his tree. Because I know he's sent me a descendant chart in the past. if he could get me the list of descendants of the Salernos, then I can look at it and see, okay, are those, and I guess we need to do it for the Piricellos as well. But,
Bring it up, Nick.
okay,
'Cause
so
I added the information you sent me this morning or
okay,
yesterday.
so you want me to bring up your
Yeah, there is a boatload of stuff in there.
But
It's
that's
a
the
big
thing.
boat. It's a big boat.
So let's go to home and Jim's tree.
Yeah, look up the guy at the top that you wanted me to start with.
Okay, so we're going to do this view and we're going to do tree search, and his name is Giuseppe Salerno.
I'm wondering if we find someone, maybe nice to introduce them to David when he will be here.
So there's 19 Giuseppe Salernos, and I believe it's the 1809 guy.
Yep, I think I actually had a duplicate or set up a duplicate.
Okay, so Kim, the thing I found was for your Antonino Salerno, he's the father of all of these that we know from Omaha fame.
Okay.
Giuseppe, Sebastiano, Lucia, etc.
Sisters.
So
yeah.
Antonino, I found his actual birth record and his marriage record to Agata Casarino. And it identified Giuseppe Salerno and Lucia Butera as his parents. So Jim and I have been putting this all together. And what I'm hoping is that off of one of these lines, there would be some Carlentini descendants. But a lot of these people immigrated. Like Salvatore's got people that immigrated, and you know, some of these.
I did do not only Ancestry, but I did 23andMe. And through 23andMe, I had an email the other day, and I'm kind of talking back and forth with her. Her mother was Rotolo, who was my great grandmother was Rosaria Rotolo. And
Ciao, Roberto.
So I need to see who is over in Carlentini. I had sent her over some information that I had. Her daughter, well, her mother, I think she said that her mother used to talk about her aunt, and she wanted to also know about my Aunt Ida. You know, that she didn't know that she died in the 80s. And so we've had just some conversation back with emails, but I need to find out.
This woman's name is Rotolo?
Rotolo, yes.
And what's her first name again?
That was on the first page that you had up.
Yeah, Giuseppe Salerno's wife was Rosaria Rotolo.
Okay, so let me get
Sarah.
So
right there.
Si dice rotolo.
Here we go.
Rotolo o rodella?
Ma dipende. Ha detto popolo. Io ho visto popolo.
where is that?
Popolo era una misura.
Okay, Rosario Rotolo.
Yeah, Rosaria.
And so she's related to Rosaria?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that would be a good connection.
Well,
I was kind of hoping there would be somebody with the Salerno.
I know. That's what I was hoping.
Well, hit the well, you can go both directions. You can go down or you can go up with Rosaria. Down with Giuseppe or up with
So all of Giuseppe's descendants are Americans though, right?
Well,
Yes,
there's a Lucia over here on the first.
Giuseppe's children were born in Omaha.
Mhm.
And I knew all of, I knew all of them, you know, that the last one to pass away was my Aunt Ida. And then before that, in 1972, was my Uncle Louis. And then before that was my Uncle Yano, Sebastiano. And then my grandfather died in 1962 or 1963, Tony. He was the oldest, but 3D had died of tuberculosis, and they had one son, Vincenzo, who was he died at about a year old, and John was shot and killed down in Little Italy when he was in his 20s. But
So what, you know, I was thinking that really this is probably a dead end line as far as finding people in Carlentini. All descendants of Antonino and Agata pretty much are going to be Americans, I think.
Yeah, but if you, okay, let's go back to Rosaria Rotella and see what is up above her family. If I actually have something up there, you know, the two things on the top. There you go.
Okay, so you have her parents as Giovanni and Maria here. So,
oh, and there's more.
but these people are not going to be like cousins of the whole Salerno clan. They're going to only be cousins of this branch of
Yes.
Salerno.
I'm curious, Nick, when you go all the way to the top of the two main people, wherever the top is, do those people have siblings that stayed behind?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out here. So let me just show you what my thinking on the matter is. Okay, so I wanted to take it back to this Giuseppe and Lucia and get their children and find the branches of their family that stayed in Carlentini. So they had, let's do this, their profile view. I think that might be a little easier. Okay, so Giuseppe married Lucia, and they had Maria, Giuseppe, Salvatore, Antonino, Salvatore, Maria, Sebastiano, Antonino, and Giuseppe. So Antonino, we know for sure went to the United States and died there. And all of his children went there and died there. But all these other children are potentials.
The first
except
three.
Except for the ones that died young, which is
Yeah,
Maria,
first three.
Giuseppe, and Salvatore. So this one, we don't have a death date on, so he could have descendants, but I don't think Jim has any descendants in his tree.
So this Antonino was he would be my third great grandfather. Was he Giuseppe and Sebastiano? Yeah.
Well, no, this Antonino, I believe, died young because there's another one down here. I believe this is your Antonino here. And for some reason it's not going.
Well,
okay, so he married Agata Casarino and had all the people that you know about.
okay, because Giuseppe Salerno and my great grandmother Sarah Rosaria had Tony, Anthony, and John, and Vincenzo, and Sebastiano.
Yeah, but Kim, none of those are gonna have
Yeah.
Carlentini descendants.
No, they were Omaha. So, because this Antonino Salerno is Giuseppe and Sebastiano's father.
That's correct.
Okay, okay. Because my other Antonino
Here's
is
Giuseppe,
my
here's
papa.
Sebastiano.
Okay, is my papa Piricello.
And so what I'm thinking of is this Antonino's siblings are the ones we need to focus on.
Right.
And so really the first four don't look too likely, because why would there be another Antonino unless this one died before the other one was born? So it's looking like the best prospects are Salvatore Salerno and Sebastiano Salerno and Giuseppe Salerno. This one we don't have a death date on, which kind of maybe indicates she might have died.
Is she married?
I don't
Nope.
have a record of, or you don't have
Nope.
a record of it.
I don't.
Yeah. So what
Not
I'm
yet.
thinking is Salvatore Salerno, who married Sebastiana Brogna, is one potential. And that's why I wanted to get a list of descendants from Jim. So Jim, is that something you can do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, there's a boatload of people underneath
Mm-hmm.
Giuseppe and Lucia there.
Yeah, if we could get that, I think that's really what will help us answer that question for David. So are there any other Salerno descendants that are headed over there besides David?
No.
Okay.
The only Salerno that is left in the family that is, well, as far as a cousin, well, I have other cousins, but okay, from my Uncle Louis Salerno, his granddaughter, Anne, and she's the one who has all the pictures of the Salernos. She inherited all
The
of,
name of destiny, you see?
pardon me?
She has inherited the name and even all the other things.
Yeah, she inherited a lot. When my cousin Rosemary passed away, yeah, in California, she millions of dollars. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm supposed to talk to her at 2:30 this afternoon Mountain Time. Because I really, we need a picture of the Bank of Sicily. And I'm sure that in all of the pictures and stuff that she has, that my Aunt Ida had, that she's probably got a picture. I know they have a book. They have a book that when Giuseppe died, he wanted the books burned, that for people who owed money to the bank and to the clothing store, the shoe store, and the grocery store. And that when he died, nobody would owe anything. And he wanted all those books burnt. There was one book that was saved as a souvenir that has names and they owed $5, and for shoes they owed $1, and so there's just one book that was saved as a souvenir. But when he died, the family destroyed the books that had the debt.
On purpose.
Yeah.
So Kim, do you know if there's any pictures of the clothing store either inside or out?
That's what I'm hoping that Anne has. That Anne has pictures of that, because
I think Jim was telling us that the clothing store was around the corner from the hotel entrance, which of course, I'm interested in the Howard Hotel, which is right around the corner from where the clothing store was. Because
That in Mill Market, yeah.
Oh,
That's where-
is that the place where the immigrants?
right.
There were a lot of immigrants stayed there, yes.
Yeah.
That was like the 410 South 10th Street or something.
Yes. Yeah, right there on the corner of 10th and Howard.
Yeah.
Is that Billy Frogs or what bar is
Yeah.
that?
Mr. Toads.
Okay.
It's
That's right. Thank you,
Mr.
Fred.
Toads.
right next door.
I live out here, but I know it.
It's
Yeah, but
next door
this is around the corner from that hotel
to Toads.
up the street. It's a bar up there now. You know.
Go
where
ahead,
that-
Fred. What's it called? I'll put it in the.
Yeah, it was the old Mr. Toads. It was great. You remember I'd come back and visit going down there. It was awesome.
It's next door. It's the building that's next door to the west of Mr. Toads.
So do any of you Omaha people, do you know anybody that's involved with historic preservation in Omaha?
Yes. Mary is. If she works with, you work with the Douglas County Historical Society, right?
Yes, I do. I give tours for the Historical Society.
So
But
we
in
do
terms-
have connections. Mary and I
Right.
know Kathy Altz from the Douglas County Historical Society very well.
Right.
Kim
Well,
and I are supposed to.
there's usually at the state level, there's an office, and I need to get in touch with them to see if they have done that Howard Hotel building and architecturally, whether the hotel and the clothing store were all in one building. I'm trying to figure that out.
Nick, I'll send you her contact information, the person who you need to get in touch with from Douglas County Historical Society. She knows everything that we're doing, and then she can direct you from there who to contact.
Great.
Or
That
I
would be
could,
super.
I have time now too. I could also research that for you.
Ah,
That would be super, Mary.
I
The
was
other
the impression.
the other place you should look at is the librarian that we had on here with those the fire insurance
Mhm.
guys had their maps.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's a great idea, Jim.
and then we also have Gerald Steinauer from the University of Nebraska, Lincoln. He was part of a research project, the Harvest something or another with
We're getting closer to a huge step that is one of our goals in our program, that is to have the Museum of Italian American Roots. But for that, I think we need a Warren.
Yes, we do need more, and you're right.
Warren Buffett, huh?
Mhm.
I mean,
Well-
before he prepares to go somewhere else.
So,
Well,
Mary Ann, what would be really fascinating is to do an Italian-American walking tour of the, everything. Well, we kind of already have it for Little Italy, but I think what we've neglected is the fact that Old Market was part of Little Italy as well.
We can make an enogastronomical tour. So just about food and wine, actually.
That too.
Yeah, I'd be very happy. I've done some walking tours in the Old Market area.
Mhm.
But I was also talking to Sherry about Omaha today, getting these people, they're not just adapting Little Italy, they're adopting the whole city of Omaha. I think they
Mhm.
need to see West Omaha and the whole area. So I'm
Yeah,
going to meet with Sherry and see if we can't find a time where we can give them that type of a tour. We can maybe combine the tour, Old
Mhm.
Market and modern Omaha today.
and Mary, I might have you get in touch with Celan LaGreca and Judith Schweikert from Omaha Sister City Association with me, and we can discuss that with them.
Sounds good. I'm
Okay.
available.
Thank you.
Volevo dire una
Anyway.
cosa, Eleonora.
Vai, vai
Stasera-
Silvana, ti traduco.
Stasera a casa mia sono venuti 4 ragazzi di Omaha.
Ah.
Sì, vanno a Carlentini 2 giorni. La ragazza che ha prenotato si chiama Antonia Franco ed è parente di Susan Finley.
Ma
What
per
did she
caso
say?
per caso loro stanno abitando alla tenuta San Lio?
No, no, a casa mia sono, a Carlentini,
Ah, ok,
per 2
ok.
notti. Sì, prima sono stati a Roma, ora stanno 2 notti a Carlentini e poi vanno lì.
So tonight, Silvana, she's hosting for people from Omaha in her B&B.
Oh,
And they're related with Susan Finlay.
Sì, sì. Si chiamano Franco di cognome, lei si chiama Antonia.
Their name is Franco.
E già i suoi parenti io li conosco e li sto mettendo in contatto. Figurati, mi ha detto che-
So, and thanks to Silvana,
Right?
they're getting in touch with their relatives in Carlentini because Silvana knows them.
Antonia
She's followed.
2 blocks
Guarda
away
caso.
from here.
Li
She's my
conosce? Mary li conosce?
Mary Kay, do you know them?
Yeah, I know Antonia. She's my daughter's age and she grew up 2 blocks away.
Ah, ecco, hanno la
Sì,
stessa età
ha la
di sua
stessa
figlia.
età di sua figlia ed è cresciuta proprio 2 parallele accanto
ho
a casa
capito.
sua.
Se sapevo gliel'avrei detto.
The
Comunque,
world is so small.
Fili?
veramente. Lei ha detto che ha 2 parenti. Una si chiama Marinella e Nino Catalano. E siccome sono delle persone che hanno lavorato a scuola mia, ormai sono in pensione, già ho parlato con la vicepresidente, che sono anche parenti con queste 2 persone, e lei sta cercando di metterli in contatto. Ho dato il numero di
Oh,
telefono.
nice. So
Quindi
they
penso
are
che si
relatives
incontreranno domani.
with the 2 people who used to work in Silvana's school. So it was pretty easy for her to know who were they. And now tomorrow they will meet each other. Kim, were you asking something?
Oh, was the last name Fili? F-I-L-I?
no, Finley.
Susan's last
Finlay.
name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Susan Finley.
Susan
She's a member
Finlay.
of our group.
Io
And
volevo
she-
chiedere a Kim se lei conosce i suoi parenti di Carlentini, perché questi di Uccello, Salerno, io
Silvana
ne
is
conosco
asking,
tanti.
are you familiar with your relatives in Carlentini?
Am I?
Uh-huh.
No, I don't know any over there.
Non sai nessuno.
No, nessuno, lei non conosce nessuno. Just
È un
us.
peccato.
That's what we're working on. We're gonna find her some.
Just me and you from Carlentini.
Yeah, David's going over. You know.
Io ho un amico, a parte Silvana Peruccello, ma ho un altro amico che si chiama Franco Peruccello.
She has 2 friends, Piruccello, though. So who knows?
e poi-
Maybe some of them is your relative.
That would
No,
be
lo so.
nice.
Si chiama Franco.
Sarebbe bello.
Hey, you know, hey, Kim,
Potremmo cercare.
Kim. You're related to the Brishi?
Yes.
Breci, poi di Breci ce ne sono
And-
tanti.
and-
Il
no,
mio vicino di casa si chiama Breci, per
No,
esempio.
Antica Brishi.
Yes.
Breci.
Yeah, there are so many.
And what a
Brecci,
Brecci.
true.
Franco Breci, io conosco due fratelli.
Franco,
Yeah, because
Mia
Kim
moglie, ce ne
Kim
sono,
heard
ma
it just the
Alfio
way they used to
Breci.
pronounce it. That's
Alfio
exactly.
Breci è il direttore del teatro di
I've heard Jano Brishi.
Silvio Breci è un altro
My
che è giornalista, fratello.
my great great
Poi di
grand
Breci a Carlentini ce ne sono tantissimi.
was a Brisi.
Brecci,
Her sister,
Brecci.
Carmela was a Brisi. They both married Spiricello boys. Their mother was a Bonafetti.
Bonafede.
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 And her mother, I believe, was a Marino.
Huh.
Bonafede, Marino. tutti
Another
erano
very
carlentinesi.
common name. A lot of our family trees, they have a Marino.
Yeah.
Mary, per esempio,
So,
Mary si
I'm
chiama
sure, are you
esattamente.
planning to come, Kim?
I will be in Omaha so that I
Yeah.
can see you and do everything with the group, but I won't be flying over to Italy, to Sicily.
It's too
Yeah.
long.
I won't be doing that. I'm hoping next year I can go.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Can't do it this year.
It's fine.
Poi ci sono
So,
anche
one
Salerno,
of
per
the
esempio
things-
a Carlentini in Salerno si chiamano in genere Isidoro. Non so perché avevano qualche nome che aveva questo nome. Cioè, io ne
Come?
conosco già 2, Isidoro Salerno. Tre anzi ne conosco, tre. Uno si chiama
So,
Isidoro, due si chiamano
Silvana,
Isidoro, l'altro lo
she's,
chiamano Santoro, Salerno. Salerno.
Silvana, she's saying that in Carlentini, there are a lot of Salernos, even nowadays, and usually they have as a family, as name, Isidoro. So she knows 3 Isidoro Salerno.
Salerno.
Maybe some of them had some relative, some ancestor with this special name Isidoro that is not so common in Sicily.
No, infatti sicuramente c'è un
Okay,
nonno.
Nick. Yeah.
So, Silvana, I wanted to congratulate Erica on passing her exam on Monday.
No, non ha
Auguri ad Erika.
Grazie. Non ha passato gli esami, ma ha presentato la tesi, tutto quanto, ora aspetto solo di fare gli esami della laurea.
So she passed the exams. She already
A luglio.
presented the thesis, and in July she should finish everything. The
Sì,
final.
lunedì era l'ultimo giorno utile per mandare tutto quanto. Ce
Ok.
l'abbiamo fatta. Si è stressata al massimo, tanto che oggi è stata anche
Ma sempre così.
Sì,
We
sì.
are always under stress when we are under an exam.
You can relate, huh?
No, Erica's back to advertising again for classes this time, and it will be junior high kids. So if anybody's interested in or has any kids or grandkids that want to join a junior high class, there will be 8 sessions live Zoom starting in June. So if you
nice.
want to reach out to me, Erica's on board with that. So it'll be 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock our time here in Omaha. And that works for her. So we'll do junior high this time around.
What day of the week?
It'll be Monday through Thursday, starting on June. Let me see what we came up with. It was like the second week of June.
A lei piace comunque questa cosa.
Vero? Sono contenta.
Con i bambini le piace molto.
And then June 13th through the 16th. We were split up
Bellissimo.
2 weeks. 9
Okay,
to
so-
10 a.m.
So the previous week as well, so that would be the 6th through the 9th, you said?
9th. Yep, and then June 13th through the 16th, 9 through 10 a.m. I just put a little post on the new Little Italy page. I guess there's a new Little Italy page on Facebook.
Good job.
I did not have anything to do with that. That was just, I think it just worked its way out that way. Unfortunately.
Lei ha messo tutto quanto su Facebook, e allora Fred le ha detto fatto bene, buon lavoro.
Well, and really, truthfully, if it wasn't for Nick getting on that original,
Ma Fred lo sa che Nick è stato da Cimino a Lentini accanto al suo cugino farmacista?
Forse è giudissimo.
Sicuramente siamo
Giudice.
Eleanor, make sure Silvana knows she's got to post as much as she did on the other Facebook page for this new one that Melissa has started.
Non l'ho capito cosa ha detto.
Come again, sorry?
Ask Silvana to make sure that she posts as much recipes and information and history like she did on the last page that was run by Tony. So this one's run by Melissa.
Melissa vorrebbe che tu continuassi a postare le ricette, tutte le loro descrizioni, così come hai fatto sempre finora. Nella pagina Memories of Little Italy.
Sì, ma già mi ci sono iscritta in questa pagina nuova.
Wasn't that Little Italy and that's it? So is it a new one, Memories of Little Italy, as it was?
It started fresh. So everybody that gets on, I just recommend you invite everyone that you know, and then it will regenerate itself like it was. And I don't think anybody will get harassed about not making comments or posts and things like that.
But what happened to Tony, if I can ask? I'm sorry, I lost some piece along the way.
I did too. Does anyone know what happened to Tony last night?
So he just decided to completely erase that page.
I
And he
think
brought it back.
somehow
He brought it back.
the group got shut down.
Ha deciso
So they
di chiudere la
started
pagina.
the new one.
He's back on. What had
Back
happened was
on.
yesterday, it was some other person. And they took away being able to comment or like or
That
participate.
was Tony. He was using an alias name.
An
for the
alias
admin.
name?
Well, and so now as today, everything's back the way it was. But
What?
yeah,
Oh.
Yeah.
but I think that he was pretty upset about people going over to this other Facebook because he sent me a message. I'll have to forward that message to you, Sherry. It was it was threatening. It was kind of weird.
He took this page, that page, very personally. Sometimes we just don't. I mean, I don't publish every day post on our Instagram page and the Carlentini Omaha. Sometimes if I'm too busy, I mean, it will be really the last of my thought. But it doesn't mean that you are not caring about it if you're not posting or sharing. I know that is always there, and just in case is an easy way to communicate with you all simultaneously. We will have moments when we will be more online because we will have more things to share. Like when Nick came here, obviously we were sharing a lot and pictures and moments. When we will be there the same, and then every day I know we have our everyday life. So he was very upset that people were not sharing, were not participating, and I think that the right attitude is to leave the people free, and just in that way you can see if they are happy in that situation.
Yeah, the name.
This is the first lesson that my mom taught to me. When I was a little child, I was very worried that my little dog escaped from me. So one day she said, "You take off the lace, the tie." I was like, "Mom, no, otherwise she never comes back." And then she was like, "If she loves you, she will come back. You will see." So the best way to see if somebody loves you is to let them free without chains. And that day I realized that this is life. It works with love, it works with friends, it works with our dogs. It doesn't work with my cats. If I leave them alone away, they don't even move. They go like, "When are you feeding me? Slave."
Chi mi ama mi segue, si dice in
See,
italiano.
who loves me follows me. Brava, Silvano, brava. So I'm very sorry for that, for him, because it takes everything personal.
You don't agree with them,
really
he
sad
gets
because it was
pissed.
such a
And
good
I
platform.
just read these conversations and it's like, God, relax. I've never even heard of him until this
God,
thing
relax.
started, right? My mom would say, my madre diceva, "Oh gaga, Tony."
It
Yeah,
translates.
that means, tell them what that means. So, Eleanor.
Go to make the poo.
Yeah, go Gagani. Oh gaga, that's an old.
Oh gaga, va.
Oh gaga, what?
It should be technically in English, go shit yourself.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
He'd get mad at me. She's hey, oh gaga, when something.
Detto proprio in Sicilia, ma oh gaga, va.
All'umara sometimes.
Vero.
There's an old one for you, Eleonora.
Si dice, veramente si dice una
O
cosa.
gaga all'umara, no?
O gaga, cattiveno culure.
No, questo è terribile. I can't translate it. We are going back
quando
to
tu ti sforzi,
Carlentinese
diventi
expressions.
rosso in viso, capito?
This is a term. So when people...
I'm going to kind of change the subject here.
Però
Go.
traducilo.
Please, Nick, because
Save that
I
one, Nick,
need,
for
I
down
need
the
the
road.
toilet paper to change this subject. So please
So
do it.
I want to
Mary Kay.
welcome a couple people that are kind of new, I guess. And that would be Patricia Patricia Lean, who's a Gata, and Ron Hug. I don't know that we've seen a whole lot of you, Ron, and Matthew is fairly new as well. So I want to welcome those three people and let you know that we are really happy to have you.
It's a crazy family, as you can see.
It's a normal family.
Normal Italian family.
So Matthew, I know you and I had some email traffic here lately.
Yes.
And why don't I pull that up if you don't mind me sharing it with the group?
No, that's fine.
Okay. Let me find, here we go. Share. Come on, share. Okay, so let me, so I don't know if, there you are, Matthew Sortino. So you're also Matt. I've got you in here twice, apparently.
Yeah, there's two different emails. I would start using the Gopher L2 out of Gmail.
Oh, the Gmail, okay.
Yep.
And
I'm transitioning.
So Matt sent me this declaration of intention that he received. And I thought this was pretty interesting. It kind of threw me for a loop a bit, Matt, because apparently he wrote Sotino, and if you look down at his signature, it does sort of look like Sotino, but I think most likely, of course, your name does have the R, right? So
yeah.
I'm assuming that somehow that just got lost in translation.
So what I think happened here is that someone at the filling out the form for him wrote it that way because his signature is just an X at the bottom.
Oh, okay. Okay, yes, his mark. Okay.
Yes, his mark.
All right. So whoever the clerk was that wrote this down, looks like Julius Cantoni.
Yeah. Yes.
So he didn't hear the R, so he wrote Sotino. Now, the thing that's a little confusing is that Rosario says that he was born on the 15th day of February, 1894. So there is a Rosario Sortino who was born in Carlentini in 1894, but it wasn't on the 15th of February. So let's just go, since we got Jim's tree up here, this is where I was getting the information anyway.
Are you related to John Sortino and Tony, Matt?
No. My father was Joe. And Charlie Sortino was my uncle.
So, okay, so Rosario Sortino, according to what Jim has in his tree, it was born on the 19th of April, 1894. And but the reason that I think we're looking at the same person is because this gentleman says that he arrived on the vessel Roma.
Yes.
Okay, so when you look at the passenger list that Jim has attached, you'll see that it is the vessel Roma, and it is 1910, although he doesn't give a date when he arrived. But where'd he go? He is on line 6, Sortino Rosario, age 16. So that's the right age for somebody born 1894. And his mother was Gabriella Giuseppa of Carlentini. And that's what Jim has in his tree for the mother. Although when you look at the actual, what's on this,
Questa qua si dice ganci.
Ganci.
Certo, non ganci.
so this transcription needs to be corrected. This should be guerriera instead of
Guerriera. Ah,
guerriera.
guerriera.
And
Guerriera. Ci vuole una E e una S.
so it also mentions his father was Chirino, which, and that he was in Omaha. So that squares with what Jim has in his tree for the
Il
parents,
nome della nave era Roma.
Chirino and Giuseppe. So
how do
Scroll
I,
down a little bit here. Because I split out all of that stuff there. There's the origin, his departure through Palermo, his arrival in New York, and his final destination was 1004 Howard, which is your favorite place.
my favorite place, the Howard Hotel.
Mr. Toads.
Yep, Mr. Toads.
So, Jim has a note, need to validate that Sortino was married to, that Rosario was married to Marielle Hitchings, which I think we actually have all of this in the Italians of Omaha tree. If we go, I think you and I worked on this before, didn't we, Matt?
I think you were fast fingering as we were talking.
And this is you, right? Matthew J?
Yes.
Okay. So.
And Mary Hitchings is correct.
So.
I think she was 14 at the time they got married.
So when you go to his profile, I have actually an obituary image and Rosario, age 87, survived by wife Mary L., sons Charles C. of Colonel Lake, Joseph W. of Garland, Texas.
Yes, that's my father. Yeah, that's right.
And where do you live now, Matt?
I live in Bellevue, just outside of Omaha.
Oh, okay. All right. So your dad was in Garland for what reason?
My mom just wanted to move back to Texas. They were in the military, so they went back there. And I think they stayed for about 16 years and then came back to Omaha and lived in Carter Lake, right next door to Charles C., which you see above his name.
So this is pretty cool. There's a
I lost you.
Yeah, we all lost you.
This is a pretty cool. That's
I'll let him know.
They lived on 13th Street. He lived on 13th, huh, Matt?
He did, right behind Marino's grocery store. In fact, he made sausage for Marino's.
Yep, totally where. Yep.
If he has to, he may have to shut it down to get back on, you guys.
Oh, since he's the guy that opens. Yeah.
So you're not. So Matt, you're not related to the Johnny Sortino's Pizza. You're not related to Johnny or Tony, then.
My mother was, and she was De Stefano.
Huh.
Which is odd. But there was
Stefano and Sortino. My grandmother was a Sortino, and her mother was a De Stefano.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so the was that on 10th Street? Did they have a home down on 10th Street?
Yes, my dad did, just above Riverview Park.
No, the other direction, below Cabrini.
Oh, no.
There was a Sortino family over there because My mom hung around with Mary Sortino. And her, her cousins were DeStefanos.
Yeah.
So
Well, we need to talk about that.
Okay, bye. Sorry, guys. I guess I lost my internet momentarily.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Ron Hug. Have we done anything on your tree, Ron? I can't recall.
You did some research and come up with some news articles for me.
Okay. So let me go back to the tree if I can find it.
Gaspar Seda was my great grandfather.
Oh yeah, I'm remembering
my
that.
great uncle is Richard Seda, and then my other great uncle is Joe Seda.
Okay, so tree search. Gaspar.
Yeah, there's I've seen 3 different spellings of it.
Yeah. So
I
this
just
is
seen
your grandfather here, Junior? No,
No, he was senior.
he was senior. Okay.
I just seen
Yeah,
Richard.
I don't know if we showed this to everybody, but I really thought this was pretty cool. Funeral of prominent Italian held Tuesday. Funeral of Gaspar Seta, local Italian leader, who died Saturday after a 2-day illness from pneumonia, was held at 2 o'clock Tuesday. The Italian band accompanied the bier. The bier is the funeral procession. Seda was one of the best interpreters in the state, possessing a mastery of both the Italian and the English languages. He was employed at the Douglas County Courthouse. So that is very cool.
I thought so.
Yeah. And so you go through which child then?
I'm sorry?
Which child of Gaspar is yours?
My grandfather is Richard.
Richard here?
Yeah,
Richard.
there's 2 Richards. Gaspar had a brother named Richard, and Gaspar had a son named Richard. Richard F. Seda would be my grandfather.
Okay. And so it looks like I need to do some cleanup here because we have some children that are unattached to a mother. Were these all children of Vernie or Veronica? Francis
Yeah,
and
Vernie
Robert
was
Jean?
my grandmother, married to Richard. Rita was my mother. Francis would be my aunt. Robert would be my uncle. Those all look, those that are there look good.
Okay, so usually the best way is to go into the individual and then to edit relationships, add mother, and is that her?
Yeah, that's her. Notorious, my notorious grandmother.
And if we go back to the sibling, looks like we need to also add Robert's mother. So edit relationship, add mother, and Vernie is the mom. Save. Okay, so if we go to the siblings again, Rita's your mom?
Yes.
And do I have you in here? No, I need to add the spouse. Your dad is
Harold C. Hug Sr.
Harold C. Hug Sr. Do you know his birth date?
May 6, 1927.
Okay, 5-6-1927. And so May 6th, you said?
Yep.
Was he born in Omaha?
I think actually Sarpy County.
Sarpy County?
Hey, sorry to interrupt. I got to get going. I got called to a meeting real quick, but take care, everybody.
Ciao,
We'll
Fred.
see you all next
Ciao,
week. Ciao.
Pedronio. Ciao, ciao.
Oh, ciao,
Ciao,
ciao.
Fred.
So I
Thanks for
left you with the
coming.
new one. I left you guys with the new one to learn from that for going forward, right, Nick?
Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah.
Okay, ciao, ciao. Ci vediamo. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Arrivederci.
All right, so do you know his death date?
I don't remember it.
Okay, well, we'll just leave that then. And I'm going to add you. Is it Ron or Ronald?
Ronald.
What year were you born?
April 30th, 1956.
4-30-1956. So where were you born, Ron?
I was born in Little Italy.
Okay, so Omaha.
Yeah. I was born at St. Joe Hospital with everybody else.
Yeah.
Omaha, Douglas, Nebraska. All right. So then we can go back and we can view you in the tree. And we can see that we've got the Setas out there.
Ron ha l'età di mio marito?
Uh-huh. Ron
He was
has the
born-
same age.
Sì, sì, gliel'ho detto.
So did
Nato nel
we never
56.
did we figure out where? Oh, Palermo province. Okay, but what do we not know the exact town in Palermo? Is that where we're hung up?
Yeah, I don't think we actually nailed that down.
Yeah. Yeah, we were looking for a naturalization for you, I think, and we.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we found an incomplete one.
Mm-hmm. But he must have naturalized if he was working at the courthouse.
That was a different time.
Yeah, I guess it could have been. Okay, so I'm going to switch gears. I'm going to go to our friend Patty, since she and I worked on this a little bit at the beginning of the meeting. And Patricia,
Yeah.
Lean. Patty, you still with us?
Yes.
All right. So, just based on stuff we already had in the tree, we had the Gatas pretty far out. And what we need to look at here is Frida. Let's see what we have on Frida. So there's lots of hints, but let me see if I have. Oh yeah, I've been having a problem lately. I don't know if any of you use Firefox, but when I use Firefox to look at the attached family trees, it doesn't show them to me anymore. But when I do it on my iPad, I can access it. So
Maybe it's not uploaded this version of your computer, or
I
find
don't know.
that
I don't know what it is. It's really weird.
maybe on your iPad you have a newest version of it.
Yeah.
In general, I prefer Google Chrome.
Yes.
Well, I was using Google Chrome, but then I was having problems with Google Chrome, so I switched to Firefox. I guess I need to go back to Chrome.
Yeah.
So my alternate method is to go to Jim's tree over here and look for Frida Catania. So Freda or Frida, there's Frida Galleta here. Okay, so Jim doesn't have anything on her ancestry. I wonder if we, whoops, wrong button. If we went to Catania, that doesn't seem to me like a Italian name.
È strano questo nome, Freda, mai sentito dire.
I think it's the Americanization of Alfreda.
Alfreda?
Alfreda,
It is a very old, I mean, I've never heard about a lady called Alfreda.
So Jim doesn't have any Alfredas.
It's a very old
It could be Alfia.
Nick.
Alfia, può essere.
Could be Alfia, yeah.
Nick.
Alfia Catania.
Yeah.
In genere poi Alfia viene trasformato in Fina.
No, he doesn't have, he doesn't have that
okay.
either.
Fina, signora Fina, per esempio, si dice, no? È Alfia.
Nick.
So
Try Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Sì, Filadelfia può essere Filadelfina.
That's what we
Allora,
talked about this weekend. I don't know.
sì, potrebbe essere.
Yeah, there's no results for Philadelphia.
Può
This,
essere.
Oh my.
what we need to do is find her marriage record and find out. So let me go back to these hints and see what we got here.
Ciao, Sherry.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao. Ciao, dear.
Ciao, ciao.
So Frida, find a grave. Frida as a mother, Frida Catania. Don't see anything. I don't see anything that shows. Let's go to a census record. Maybe there's an early census record. Go to Sebastiano. His hints, that's more likely. 50, 40, 30. Sebastiano. So does it say when they were married? 33 was when Joe was born. See what these other trees have. Frida.
Right there. Right.
I'm sorry?
What's the one right where your cursor is?
Yeah.
Could that be it?
Well, this is her. These
Okay.
other trees, these are hints for her husband. So maybe I should just go back to see what kind of hints in trees there are for her. See if anybody has a name of a father. Maybe it's only 3 trees that show Frank and Josephine. Okay, now we're talking. Frank Catania. So she's from Jersey City?
Yes, I believe so.
So do you know these people then, Chris?
Yes, they're like family to me.
Okay. So all 3 say Jersey City. And two of the three say Frank and Josephine are the parents. This one has Josephine's maiden name, although they spelled this one wrong. So I'm going to go with this one for now. And this is interesting how they've put Jersey City and then likely Brooklyn. Parents Frank and Josephine. I don't know why they got the extra spelling here, Josephine. But so, a lot of people don't like to put this stuff in their tree, hints from other people's family tree, but I use them as basically that, a hint. So once I've got something to go on, then it makes it easier to look at the actual records. So this says his wife was Francesca Chirendi. That's interesting. And Frank and Josephine, children Joe. So they were in Omaha by 1940. That's what it looks like. But Frida wasn't in the household. So that makes me suspicious. Of course, by 1940, she could have been married too.
Well, she was, because Joe was born in 1932.
Right. So let's try to see if there's an earlier census. 1930 review.
And I know he was born in Omaha. At least I'm pretty sure.
Frida's still not in the house though, so she must have been married prior to 1930. And we don't see a 1920 for this group. Well, Patty, was able to add the names of Patricia, great. Names of Frida's parents. So this requires some verification though. So
I just texted her. She's gonna try and jump back on.
oh, did we lose her?
Yeah,
She had to go?
yeah, she's gonna try and jump back on though.
Oh, okay. So this isn't for her, this is for her son. So let's see if there's one for her. Find the grave, Social Security death index. No. What would be good is if there was a there's Social Security index there, or they put online their card information. When you apply for a Social Security card, you have to give the names of your parents. And if you can find that, it's not the death index like this, but it's usually find it under birth, marriage, and death. Huh, interesting. Frida and Catania. No, that's not. Oh, well, I'm forgetting that.
Did you have the 1930 census?
Yeah, but she's not with her parents, so I was trying to verify.
She is like described as a what, sister-in-law or daughter-in-law.
Oh, so her 1930 is with her husband's family then?
No, yeah, exactly. With Joe and Mary Gaita.
Okay, so this is not her, I wouldn't think.
No, that isn't her.
Okay.
But I just did a general search.
Mm-hmm. And you came up with
yeah,
no,
Lillian, if you bring up that one there, she's on the same one there with Lillian.
Oh, she is on that one with Lily.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, here she is right here. Okay, so she's listed as a daughter-in-law.
Yeah, clear down. She's like the last one on the list there.
Okay.
Living at 1304 Poppleton.
1304 Poppleton.
Is that right?
No, it's South 6. Well,
yeah.
It is Poppleton, isn't it?
Nope. That would be South 6. Poppleton is.
6?
Yeah, Poppleton, I think.
Oh,
is
it must be these
South.
people here that are on Poppleton and everybody below is on South 6.
Yeah.
Okay. So these are her in-laws, and her husband's name was Sebastiano, wasn't it?
So is he the guy up above there?
Yes, I believe that was his name.
Sebastiano?
Yeah.
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 And he was born in Italy.
And this does say she was born in New Jersey. And so what we need to do is find her in 20. But that is how she spells her name, Frida, Freda. Interesting. So save Frida. Yeah, so her husband was, that was a different way of enumerating than what I've seen. Typically, the daughter-in-law would be enumerated next to her husband, but it would say daughter-in-law. But
well, weren't there like grandchildren in there too? So
yeah, there were. So it might have been some of her kids, huh?
I don't know.
Daughter-in-law.
There's Lillian.
Lillian.
It's probably
so those may be Lillian's kids, yeah.
Because Frida was only 17.
Yeah. And she was 16 when she got married, so.
So she probably didn't have 3 kids.
Mm-hmm. That's a pretty good bet.
and the oldest was probably almost 4 years old.
Yeah. Okay, well,
yeah,
we have a few stalwarts that stuck it out to the very end. Does anybody want to have any questions, comments, announcements?
I have a question, Nick. Now, for me to get started in this ancestry, to lay out, you've already laid out some things. Still, is that accessible for me to build on, or not?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So I just got
So-
to get a log on and do all that kind of stuff and then go in there and do the research and begin filling that out.
Yeah, actually, we could walk you through the process of building your family tree on Ancestry at some point. Probably not, we wouldn't start it today, but
Right.
at a future session, we could do that. And, you know, and I'm available for private sessions as well.
Okay.
The other alternative, and Eleonora has started this on her own, is to go to Family Search, and that's a free resource that you can also use.
Oh, sorry. I thought there was my microphone was cut out, so I was going to unlock it. Yeah, it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy. Family Search is very an easy way to start somewhere, so you can start seeing your family tree going. Plus, you can add pictures. What I found unknowing is that when I go to ancestry.com, for example, without paying, I can't update all the huge job that the huge work that Nick and Dean made on my family tree. So I should write it one by one, every single person, all the dates and everything. But beside that, with a little bit of time and patience, you can easily keep going. And with the Family Search is for free.
Family Search is like group help on that too, because you know, you should probably search for people that may already have your ancestors in a tree out there someplace already, and then collaborate with them to, you know, send them a note and kind of collaborate with them. I know there's some things I want to talk with Nick at some place. I keep wanting to call him on the phone and never get around to it. But Family Search and the portal Ancestor, you know, there is just so much information that I found out that some of the really early records that are on portal, my family tree maker actually goes out there and pings both Ancestry and Family Search to, you know, for hits. And when I was putting in stuff from the 1820s, somebody from Family Search 10 years ago was actually entering data from there. So yeah, that's what I thought too. So you just you know, you just want to take a look at that, and I've just kind of added to other people's trees out there, and some people have contacted me and say, well, who the heck are you, and why are you touching my ancestors? And it's like, oh, that's I'm like
you know more about them than they do.
Yeah, it's like you're like my third cousin, 3 times removed, you know, you know, wherever.
So Nick, are you retired?
I am, yes.
Okay. So you're open to a call, let's say next week or something, and to make arrangements for a sidebar conversation at some point that's available to you?
Yes.
Okay.
I was happy to do it.
All right.
I'll wait for you in Sicily.
What's that?
I'll wait for you in Sicily.
Are you planning a trip, Matthew?
My wife asked me that. I don't know. I kind of want to do that. I've been there before when I was a boy, but it would be great. That's why I'm kind of excited for the Santa Lucia, where we get to meet Eleonora when she comes, along with the mayor. I'd like to be part of that, just to visit and establish that, which also allows that pull to make a trip.
Oh yeah, of course, I can help you under this point of view. I'm a tour guide.
Yes, and then is it Savannah?
Silvana?
Yeah,
Silvana.
you have an R&B there.
Yeah, an Airbnb.
Yeah, an Airbnb. Yeah, so that's, I mean, all that kind of adds up to that pull to come over and to visit, knowing that you have somebody that you can visit with and get more information and just share experiences.
Yeah, in Carlentini actually.
Yeah.
She's in Carlentini while I'm in Modica, that is a little bit southern because of my work, but I'm originally from Carlentini too.
Oh, it would just be fun to do that. Yes.
Okay.
So Eleonora, did you actually make contact with Frank Nigro? A few weeks ago, he had pinged me on Ancestry, and I suggested, your name, and he said,
we shared a couple of messages and emails. So I think he has to work on his family tree as well.
He told me that he was coming over there. He was going.
Yeah, but we are talking about next year. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I thought it was this summer he was going over there.
Mm-hmm.
Who are we talking about?
Frank Nigro.
Frank what? Nigro?
Nigro.
Mm-hmm.
Frank Nigro?
Sì.
Yes.
Nigro.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, he's
from questo
from.
Frank Nigro è suo parente?
No, gli ha scritto che voleva venire qua, lui gli ha dato il mio contatto e ora stiamo cercando di fare un
Frank Nigro di
programma.
Omaha.
Sì. Vediamo se alla fine abbiamo parlato su Nigro.
I think he and I have been talking.
He's
yeah,
from
this-
California.
By email.
Yeah. So I have his tree.
Frank Gregory Nigro.
He's got Salerno too.
Oh,
Lucia Salerno.
yeah, I think I pointed him at you too.
Carlentino, io già
I told him
conosco
about
due.
the Zoom meeting and
Mhm.
to drop you a note.
Yeah.
I haven't heard him for a couple of weeks, so.
I am related to the Nigros. Grew up
Mhm.
around the Little Italy.
Tony Nigro.
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 Nigro. In siciliano, in italiano si dice nigro. Che
Okay.
viene dal latino nigrum, che significa nero. Black.
Yeah, it comes from the Latin nigrum that means dark.
Yep.
Yeah.
Io ho un amico che si chiama Paolo Nigro. È un mio ex collega.
Thank you for asking, Jim, because we were trying to combine a Zoom meeting. So I wrote him, then he wrote me back, and then I haven't seen this email. It was about May 1st.
Yeah, same
Thank
here.
you.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was about the same time, last time I heard from him too.
Yeah, it has been such a crazy month because here in Sicily is ice season and people, they haven't traveled for 2 years. So now it's completely fully booked, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So are you still having
Good for us.
people, are you still having people test positive and having to stay in the hotel rooms?
No, No. I'm just having people in the morning, early afternoon, and afternoon. Like 3 groups of a day. Yeah. And keep talking about our projects to everybody. So who knows?
Questi ragazzi che sono venuti da me non sapevano nulla di OmahaCarlentini.
So
Io gliel'ho
strange that they knew
spiegato.
nothing. Brava.
Poi ho fatto
brava.
vedere le persone che conosco. Ah, lei conosce?
They escaped us. They knew nothing about our projects going on. Okay,
Beh,
it's
sono
fine.
troppo giovani, ragazzi.
They're too young. Oh, okay, it's true. Va bene.
Ok, ci vediamo la prossima volta.
I guess it's time to say goodbye.
Con te partirò.
Time to say goodbye. Va bene. So beautiful. Ciao, big family.
Ciao a tutti.
Ciao a
Ciao.
tutti.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao, alla prossima.
See you next week.